Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
Peace and blessings, love and light, and welcome to this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond. I am a minister, spiritual life coach, holistic nutritionist, author, and founder of Redefining You LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. And welcome to tonight's show. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the show. We are in season 5. And we've been doing this and rocking with this since December of 2020. And we are currently in a 365-day challenge. So those of you who have been following me have been following along. We are 37 days strong into our 365-day challenge, where we're taking small habits, small healthy habits, and creating the momentum so that way they become a daily part of our lives, and they are helping us in our wellness journey as we are working towards the better versions of ourselves. And so if you're not familiar with the 365-day challenge, or this is your first time listening in on the show, I want you to make sure that you go to my website, www.hownowpodcast.com. Be sure to click your favorite podcast platform. Any of them: iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, any of them, and check in with me and find out what's going on right now. Be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe. You can also scroll to the bottom of the page and click on the banner for this week's show, and it'll take you to the How Now YouTube channel, where you can check out my playlist, where you can see some of our shows in review. You can check out my Tuesday, where I share a scripture verse every Tuesday. And you can also check out the playlist for what's been going on with the 365-day challenge. So make sure you poke around and be sure to click that subscribe button so you always know what's happening in the now. Again, that's www.hownowpodcast.com. All right. So we're going to dive into tonight's show, where we're going to be talking about too powerful to be powerless. You know, one thing that we think about when we talk about our life, sometimes people talk about, we talk about work-life balance, things like that. And when I think of my life, I don't think of it as, a balance this way, where we're going up and down. I think it's more harmonious. It's more like a wave. I think that each one of us has a life that is musical, and we play to our own music. Each cadence, each music that's created is something that's unique to each person. So it's a harmony that's created, and it starts from within. And it's a power that starts from within. And for those who know God, know that we have the Holy Spirit in us, and we know that that's where that power and that source comes from. And so we want to talk about that. We want to talk about being able to embrace our inner strength so that we can live a life of vitality. And to help me in weeding through all of this is my beautiful guest. She is a dear friend, someone who I love and respect. And as is customary with the How Now podcast, I'm going to give her an opportunity to introduce herself at this time.
Thank you, Kim. My name is Immacula Oligario. I am a dream builder coach and life mastery consultant. And what I do, I help people to create and live a life they actually absolutely love. And I'm the CEO of Yes I Can seminars and the blueprint for manifesting. And I have been using every platform that I have. I'm also a commissioner of human rights, so I use that platform to help to bring health into, because health is a human right. So I educate people on health. That's what I've been doing. And I love my life.
Awesome. Awesome. I am so glad that you are here and to talk about too powerful to be powerless. And that is the title of her book. And here it is. I have my copy. And y'all, let me tell you, I have dog-eared pages in here. It is a beautiful, beautiful collection of inspirational quotes and generational wisdom. And so that's why I brought Immacula here to talk about her book and to talk about, some of the things that we can do to create that harmony and that strength that comes from within. So before we get to talking a little bit more about the book, I want to talk about how you entered into this space of doing what it is that you do.
Okay, thank you so much, Kim. My first book is Smoothie Detox Reset Challenge, and that book kind of that was supposed to be my second book, but it turned out to be my first book. But this book has been inside of me for so long, and it was as a result of when my mom made her transition.
I can
I
imagine.
entered a very functional depression because I was able to help everybody else, but nobody
Mm,
knew silently how much it was weighing inside of me. Losing my mother was like I felt a numbness inside. I felt
mm,
like I was giving birth. I was actually in labor, but there was nothing that was coming out. That was the numbness that I was feeling inside. So that kind of helped me down. I was stagnant for so long. I couldn't move forward. And although I had published the first book, and I said, you know what, not until I published this. And I was so challenged. The name of the book itself challenged me. I was supposed to publish the book I said, for my mom's birthday.
mhm.
And then for Mother's Day, it didn't happen. Then I said, okay, then I'll do it for my birthday. It still didn't happen.
Wow.
And then I wasn't able to publish it until December 21st. And it's sometimes when you go through life, you have to realize a title like this would challenge you to so you can find your resilience, so you can
Yeah.
find your hoof. How can I move forward? It is happening. And I
Right.
had put aside all of that. I got my life back because I kept hearing my mom's voice telling me, you are too powerful to be powerless. Just move on with your life. It was 6 years of that.
Wow. Yeah.
Six years. And people would never know because, that's why, it gives me the heart to reach out to people. Because sometimes you see somebody, they smile, they're having their life, but you don't know what's going on. You really don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, writing those and to find some of my quotes, because sometimes I could be working and then one quote dumps into my mind, and I go in my appointment book, and I have a hardcover appointment book, and I would write the quotes, and I had to go back and retrace and pull
Yeah.
out pages, and then started to put it in a Word document. And then from there on, it was like, okay, but I wasn't ready to move forward because it was
Yeah.
always like, oh, it's not ready, it's not ready, it's not ready. So I'm saying this to tell everybody, sometimes you got to say this is the end, and it has to leave your hands. It
Yeah.
has to go
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely. Like you said, that's something that's so powerful. The one thing that you said, when you talk about functional depression, because that's true. No one sees, we've gotten into spaces where we, put on that facade, and we're always told, just, get over it. You're being extra, you're doing the most. And sometimes it's very hard for us to make the transition, like you said, especially when someone has passed away that was such a source of strength for us. I can relate, when I lost my daughter, it's a lot to have to deal with, and you're still supposed to go on about life, as per usual, and it's difficult to do, like you said, when you feel that void. And it's hard to come up out of that vacuum if we don't have the inspiration, if we don't have the tools. And that's something that's so critical. That's what I talk about toolboxes. What is it that we can reach back into? What is it, whether it's the promises of God, whether it's the beautiful quotes or something that someone has said to us that has helped to propel us and move us forward. That's something that's so critical when we're trying to transition from one space to another. How are we prepared? How are we able to pull ourselves out of that vacuum? And sometimes it's hard for us to do that on our own. And that's where we need people to come in and assist us. Or we need books like yours that have those words of wisdom and empowerment and inspiration that are going to move us forward. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It was to me, it was the hardest thing. And you talk about your daughter. I had lost my a son that I gave birth. It was like he was a month and 2 days, and I
Yeah.
was in functional depression for 12 years
Wow.
until I was in therapy. As I was in therapy, that came up. And it was so challenging, it's so hard. I remember to this day, I would never talk about it. I never
Hmm.
told anybody about it.
Hmm.
After therapy, I was able to talk about it and I was able to put it behind me. And while I was in therapy, I became numb. It's almost like a big block of ice that I drifted
Mm.
into because I couldn't move forward. I couldn't do anything. And I had to ask my therapist, can you stop? Because he was a psychiatrist,
Hmm.
but he was using, I'm not sure if you're familiar with tapping.
Hmm.
That's what he was, part of it was tapping, and he was doing his own um, hypnotherapy.
Hmm.
And that kind of got me out of it. And this doctor friend of mine, I remember I used to own and operate a hair salon, and people
Hmm.
confide in you. They tell you all their
Yes.
lives. And I remember um, I would give him the key to my place, to my salon, and I would tell him on Sundays, and I would identify the women who needed that help.
Hmm.
And he would see them for me because although I had studied hypnotherapy, it was such a fine line. People could not go from here to now. They don't know what hypnotherapy really is, and then to submit themselves to me.
Right.
So that was a good balance for me. It was a great kind of help that he was giving to those women. So I think, and that was, I'm talking about the late 90s.
Mm.
Late 90s. So I knew there was a place to go. However, he had moved away. He moved to South America. He retired and moved to South America. And then he came back to the States. And he always told me, when I retire, I'm going to teach you this method. And he came back and told me, can you gather a few people and I will teach you? So part of it too was his help was kind of
Wow.
pivotal for me because he
Yeah.
was able to kind of get me in a place where I wasn't grieving anymore and I could
Mhm.
move forward.
Yeah. And I think that's so critical because, we have to get to a point, and I'm hopefully I'm using the right term of, self-actualization where we're looking at ourselves and we're saying, hey, I'm in this space. I'm not comfortable here.
Right.
I'm not certain how I'm supposed to move out of this space. And that's where, I say sometimes we have the tools within, we have the tools, we have the power within, but sometimes we don't know how to tap into it.
Right.
Sometimes we don't know how to access it, or we have it and we don't know how to do it. We have tools in our houses that we don't use. I mean, that we have hammers and screwdrivers and things. We have things in our car. That doesn't mean that we necessarily know how to use them. And that's where it's so important to be able to say, okay, come to the realization that I don't know how to use this tool. There's something I know that's inside of me that's going to help me to get out of this space that I'm in. but I don't know how to tap into it. I don't know how to access it. And that's where it's important to be able to ask for help, to be able to say, okay, I can't do this in and of my own ability. Now I'm going to step up, and I'm going to take the next step, and I'm going to ask for the help that I need. And so that's important for not, as is was important in your journey. And it's
Right.
important for those who are listening as well to realize that sometimes we have to get beyond ourselves and ask for the help that we need, and then be able to utilize it, not just take the tools and say, okay, they've given this to me, they've resolved the problem, but to almost be like an apprentice
Right.
and walk alongside that person, so that way, when it happens again, and it will,
Right.
that you'll know how to use the tools a little better. You may not be perfect at it, but you'll learn to master it over time.
Right. But it's so important because we know what it is to be happy.
Yes.
We know when we are in a state that's in a low frequency as well. However, just like you said, having the tools, and it shouldn't be something that we're ashamed to talk about.
Right.
It shouldn't be something that we are ashamed to go seek help, you know, because um, right now I'm all about joy.
Yes.
That's all. That's all. Anything that doesn't align with my peace and joy, I
Yes.
cannot be a part of it
Yes.
because there's a feeling, there's something that you feel inside. You know, when you a little baby is born, you know that you're a grandmother, so you
That's right.
understand. You know,
Yeah.
I lost my mind when I saw my grandchild on this for the
Yes.
first time. You know,
Yes.
there's a love, and I think sometimes too, um, it's being able to, as you're going through it, to be able to hug yourself, to tell
Yeah.
yourself, listen, I love you. I know you're going through stuff, and right now, what I do, there's a little girl inside of me. All of us have a little girl inside of us. But that little girl could be stumping her foot and she don't want to move forward.
That's right.
I just harmonize with us. Is listen, come, let's sit, let's have a talk.
That's
How
right.
can we move forward?
Yes.
I'm gonna give you what you want. You don't want to be happy, that's okay. But can I have some joy? And you can have a little bit of joy while I'm having mine.
Yes. Yes.
Because that you we have to be able to communicate because there's a duality that's going on inside of us all the time.
Yes.
Are we going to give in to sadness? Are we going to give in to anger? What are we going to give in to? Or are we going to give in to, joy? What do we want? And there's always a choice,
That's it. That's it.
it's
It's
either
all about
or,
you.
and but you can have the little balance because I'm like, sometimes I'm afraid to move, and I'm like, listen, I have a client that I just worked with, and she's been having a phobia for 20 years. And after 5 weeks, I was so happy. I was jumping out of my chair. I was so happy. She's afraid to get on the highway. It's been 20 years.
Wow.
And she was able to, after we worked for 5 weeks, and she says, you know what, I was driving, and I said, I'm going to get on the highway today. I have confidence in myself. And she got
Yes.
on the highway.
Yes.
So sometimes, because what I'm telling her, listen, just take the little girl along with you, take
Yeah.
her along with you, because you can't be upset with her. She doesn't want to get on the highway, something happened.
Right.
But let's get on the highway. And she was so happy. So I said, you see, you just strain the muscle in your mind that you can do this.
That's
So
it.
the next thing now, her next test, she doesn't like to go on in the elevator.
Mm.
So that's going to be the next thing for her because she says, and she's a very bright woman. She's very aware that one phobia would give her another phobia. She has two. So I'm like, okay, we're not gonna label them.
Right.
So eventually, so this is what gives me joy now that I'm able. that, it was, I was, I don't want to say ashamed, but kind of, I don't want to talk about my personal life.
Right.
I was
Right.
helping everybody
There's a
else.
vulnerability in that. Yeah.
Life. What I mean, one on one, I'm talking to one person at the time, and I would inspire them and empower them. But for me to be telling the whole world, that wasn't me because I'm private.
Right. Right.
So now if I know that this is helping somebody else, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
okay.
beautiful. Yeah. Like you said, it's beautiful because what winds up happening is you're speaking over yourself too.
Yes.
Because as you're doing things, as a trainer, I'm a person who, I'm constantly in front of people and talking and giving recommendations and suggestions. But it's beautiful when you can step away from that and you've spoken over yourself. And there's
Yes.
something that I've said that resonated with me. And
Right.
so, it's beautiful when you can get into that space. And
Right.
sometimes it's difficult to get there. Like you said, you have to take that child along with you and say, okay, let's see what we can do to kind of coax you a little bit to come along and try something different and to do something that's outside of the norm. And like you said, sometimes we need assistance with that, but it's that power that starts within.
Right.
So I absolutely, absolutely love that you've taken some of those beautiful words and some of those that wisdom and you put it in this wonderful book. Like I said, guys, I have dog-eared pages for those of you who are looking. I don't know if you can see it that clearly, but I've got a whole heap of pages here that are
Oh,
dog-eared
my
because
goodness.
they were things that just resonated with me. And that's the beauty of being able to put pen to paper and to be able to have
Yes.
things
Yes.
written down. People who journal, you can always go back to as a point of reference. Like you said earlier, when you were compiling this book, you were able to go back to your planner
Oh
and
yeah.
and to see some of the quotes that you wrote down. Okay, I am an avid writer because I can't remember anything. Okay, so I write down everything. I have either electronically or on paper or on
But
sticky notes. Yeah,
no, it is because when spirit is speaking, it's like thunder and lightning. Don't give you time. Sometimes you got to say, "Oh, slow down," because
right.
it comes so fast.
Yes.
So yeah, because you are connected. When you are
That's it.
connected,
The downloads come.
it's not your word. It's supposed to come through you to help somebody else.
Right. That's right. And so what I wanted to do for just a few minutes is to just share a few of the ones that I dog-eared. Now her book is divided into three parts. We have the mind, the spirit, and the body. So I just wanted to read one from each one. Let me see which one I want to read. I tried to like dog ear the pages and put a little star next to ones that resonated with me. And because I'm talking about habits with this 365-day challenge, this one resonated with me. It said, remember that every small step towards breaking a habit is progress. Because even though we're talking about healthy habits, there are some that we need to break as well that are going to help us to move forward. So that was one that kind of resonated with me, just talking about habits. And that's something that I was doing. And then I love this one too. Time is tangible inspiration mindfully executed.
Executed. Yeah,
I
that's
love
time.
that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes,
Yes, I mean, and that's just a beautiful acronym. I love acronyms because what we talk about is we talk about COPE, and for me, the acronym for COPE is create our peaceful existence. And I
yes.
absolutely love that. I love when we can take a word that we're familiar with and make an acronym out of it.
Yes.
Tangible inspiration, mindfully
Mindfully
executed.
executed.
I
Yes.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Let that resonate with you. That's something that's powerful. Okay, now let
But
me.
I love this so much. You know what I did?
Uh
I
huh.
just got me an hourglass
Oh,
because I said to myself, listen, stop wasting time.
that's it.
Okay. So I give myself 15 minutes. Okay. You can have 15 minutes, but no more than that. The rest of the
That's
time,
it.
you need to be productive.
That's it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that because and that's something that's important. And that's something, like you said, that's a healthy habit.
Yeah.
Giving yourself space and time to be able to you know just sit with yourself.
Right.
It's so important that we're able to do that, to be able to just be still sometimes. and listen to that small, still voice,
Voice.
so we want to make sure we're doing that.
Yes, people don't realize, if you have um, a habit that causes you to waste time, right? And if you take that time that you are wasting and you mindfully execute it, you
Yeah,
can you can do something with it.
that's right.
You may have a goal that's going to take you, let's say, a week to execute it. But if you take all those little time that you would have spent in a year,
Yeah.
even if it's 15 minutes, that's a long time, 15 minutes.
Yes,
So if
yes, it
you
is.
put together 15 minutes every day, after a week, it's not 15 minutes anymore.
That's it.
Okay, you have time. You have time. So
That's
there's
it.
nobody who would want something that you would tell me you have a goal that you cannot accomplish your goal.
Right, right,
You could make short goals, and those short goals are very important, because if you try to reach too far,
right.
I get people sometimes, they want to lose weight, they want to lose it like this. No,
Yes,
it doesn't work like that.
process.
If you're 200 pounds, you cannot tell me you want to be 150. Guess what? You went through all those steps to get to 100. Guess what? You got to roll it back.
That's right. That's right.
Resizing is not easy,
No,
but you
it's
got
not.
to be able to slowly do. If it's one habit that you want to change, for me, I used to be 180 pounds. So the habit that I gave up was, I love bread, I love rice,
Yes,
and I love sugar.
yes,
So those three things alone, when I gave them up, that was like, I stopped dieting.
right,
I didn't have to diet anymore, because
right.
I had given up the thing that I loved the most, and the things that was contributing to me escalating. So
Yeah,
now, but even if it's not just that, if you say, okay, I've put 7 spoons of sugar in my coffee, let me go down to 5. So
right,
that, that's, I am a none or all person. It's either I do it all the way,
right,
or I don't do it at all.
right,
That's me.
right.
But not everybody is like that.
That's
I
right.
can stop just one day and I'm like, I'm done.
That's it. I'm a person who has a very low tolerance for pain. So if I eat something or something bothers my son, I don't ever have to have it again.
Right,
So it just depends on, like you said, how you are as a person.
right.
For some people, we need to do those small little baby
Small
steps.
little steps.
If it's just I need to, I don't like drinking water, I'm going to drink one
One
glass of
glass of
water.
water.
Don't even have to be
That's
a bottle of water. It could be, a little 4 ounce. Start small. And that's going to be something that you can do. And then you can build from there. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about healthy habits and things like that. What is something that you need to
right,
to uh, you know, do a small amount for? If
right,
you don't like to exercise it, but you need to move your body, start by just putting sneakers on. How about
right,
that?
right, right.
Put the sneakers on your feet first and just see how that feels. It's like, okay, wow, okay, I feel it. Okay, let me just put on a pair of workout pants or a t-shirt. Let me just see what it feels like to be in that attire and get comfortable with that. That's
Right.
how far you can scale things back when you're talking
Yes.
about making small habit changes or doing something for the better. And then what happens is, as you start feeling better, and I'm sure you did when you gave up certain things, your
Oh
body
yes.
starts to feel better. I
Oh
did
yeah.
I did I'm in a sugar fast. I don't eat any added sugar and I feel so much better.
Better.
I'm drinking more water. I can see differences in my skin and and how it looks. All of those things begin to come together, and then that's your encouragement to move forward.
Absolutely.
Like you said, I love that you
And
talked about
celebrate every little wins. You know,
everyone.
if you took a few steps, if you had water today, I have a client who never wanted to drink water. I said, oh, okay, then put some lemon, put some frozen strawberries in your water, put something in your water to flavor it, to give you the encouragement to drink water.
Yeah, that's it.
So if it's going to be peppermint, whichever one, there's got to be a way that
Yeah,
to take that little girl along with you. She
that's
wants a lollipop, but
that's
you
right.
can say, okay. Okay, you can have a lollipop, but I can have two apples.
That's right. That's right.
There's got to be a way to harmonize with it.
But that's it. It's creating that harmony, like you said, and everybody's symphony, everybody's music to their life is different, and so it's finding those notes that are just right for you, so it becomes the music of your life, and
Right.
it's so specific to you that is not going to sound like anyone else's, but it should be sweet to your own
Sweet.
ear. You
Absolutely.
know? So I love
Absolutely.
that. I wanted to jump in and share another one part out of the
Okay.
spirit section. And we just talked about, being still and making time. It says silence your mind to unlock the ability to hear gentle whispers of your inner guidance. It will always lead you to your true path. I love
Yes.
that.
Absolutely.
Silence.
Silence.
We live in a world of calamity. There's always something going on. You have some people who cannot even sleep without having the television on
Yes.
or having lights on or having something to stimulate them. And we have to be so careful about what goes into our ear gates and our eye gates. What is it
Absolutely.
that we're receiving and we're allowing to penetrate into us that's going to affect our ability to make proper judgments or to find rest or to find peace? We have to be able to sometimes silence that calamity. So that one really rung true
If,
with me. With that
if I
silence.
tell you, I stopped watching television
Oh yeah.
since 1987.
Mhm. That's about right.
1987. And I don't miss it.
No.
I don't need it. I don't need background noise. I don't need
Nope.
anything. Because, but sometimes there could be a reason why people would like the background noise because there's chatter going on. There are so many thoughts that's
Mhm.
crossing our mind all day long. They probably don't like
Right.
what's going through the mind. So
Right.
sometimes, and there's one in there that I don't remember what page, you have to catch it. You have to catch your thought,
Yes.
and there's one that I have here that says you have to put you have to put a fence around your mind for what goes in and
Yes.
what comes out,
That's
what
right.
comes into your mind.
That's right. That's right. Because it's a
You know?
dangerous thing that can happen.
Oh,
You want to guard your ear gates and your eye gates because there's a lot of things. And like you said, I'm with you. I haven't watched television in years myself. But just like you said, that some people that's not their cup of tea. They must watch every show, watch it. I don't miss it. But like I said, that's a personal preference.
right,
That's what 55 years of life have taught me that I'm just not that person who is
right.
into watching television. Now that
It's
doesn't
not.
mean that I'm not
There's
aware
no
of the things that are
judgment.
going on around me.
Right? There's
You know,
no judgment. What we're saying
right?
here is no
Absolutely
judgment.
not.
That's a choice that we made for
That's
ourselves.
it. And
You
that's the
know?
beauty. We have the power of choice. When we talk about going from being powerful, being powerful to being
Too
to being
powerful to be
too
powerless.
powerful to be
To be
powerless.
powerless.
We have to find what is that thing that gives us that power.
Right.
And for
And,
some of us,
and
it's
you,
being able to, be
there's
socially aware, but not be confined to the constraints of
right.
television.
But this is even deeper for me because
Mhm.
I find that there is, and I told my granddaughter taught me that last year she was learning to ride her bicycle. Every time she got on the bicycle, she was like, oh, I can't do it. I says, there is nothing you can do. So the next day, she was going to teach me a lesson. And, those little minds, we have to make sure that we put something that is,
Right.
empowering in those minds because those kids, they can become whatever they want because we have to encourage that. The next day, she said she wanted to, can I open the door? I said, no, the garage, the remote, she wanted to do it. And I says, no, I don't want you to do it. I'll do it. She says, but Mamu, you told me there is nothing I can't do. I says,
Mhm.
you can't do it. She taught me a lesson. I says, okay, for that reason, let me help you
Right.
to
Right.
reach that button to,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
Because I think in life, many times we are taking powers away from people.
Yes.
Our powers have been taken away from us. So
Right.
it's just to stand in your power,
That's right.
to
Right.
know that there's nothing you can't do.
That's right. And I think it's also important for us to remember not to stifle emotions either. Because
Yeah.
think about how we're telling, oh, man up, stop crying, don't do this.
Yes.
And we have to
Yes.
remember we are spiritual beings, we are, spiritual beings living a human experience. And so we need to go through some of those emotions, as long as we're doing it and we're not causing harm to ourselves or to others. We
Absolutely.
we have to be able to be in that space of embracing that emotion, going through that emotion. I feel angry, I feel upset. How can I express that without harming myself or anyone else? But I
Right.
need to go through it. I need to cry. I need to let it out, because when we suppress those emotions,
Emotions.
we're stifling ourselves. You know,
Absolutely.
and so that's something that's critical as well, making sure that we're not stifling our children. We're not teaching them to suppress their emotions, because eventually they're going to explode.
Right.
They're going to react instead of responding.
Right.
And that's so
Absolutely.
critical. And I say that over and over and over again. We have to learn to respond to things out of wisdom and not react out of ignorance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm. That is something
Because
else.
it's okay too, for our children to see that we're human. We can cry. They cry. It's okay for our kids to see that we are able to cry, and I think that's another reason why I gave up television, because I'm an empath. If
Mhm.
I get into a room and somebody's
Yes.
sad, I feel it.
Yes.
Somebody is angry, I feel that anger. So since I stopped watching television, I don't feel that way anymore.
Right.
I'm
Right.
able to say, okay, um, it's not mine. This person, I wasn't like this before I entered this room, or
Right.
this person wasn't in my presence before. And I would say, sometimes I get the urge to say, okay, I'm feeling a certain way. I didn't feel that way before you got here. I mean, if I'm comfortable enough with that person, and then
Right.
would open up and say, oh, this happened in my life, because I'm sensing it. And
Yes.
that's the silence too, to be able to silence, so you can sense as well.
Yes, yes, yes. It's like I said, there are just so many. We are multifaceted people. All of us
Yeah,
are, and there's just so many dimensions to who we are and how we can function. Like I
right,
said, in so many different areas. And so, I think it's important. Like you said, sometimes silence ourselves to bring ourselves back to center.
right,
So that way we can assess where we are and where it is that we're seeking to go. And
right.
so that's something that's critical too. And then I want to hit on one more thing in here, and this was out of the body part, because I, as a holistic nutritionist and as a person who lost 64 pounds and have been, on this wellness journey and continue to be on this wellness journey, I love that it says, eat if you feel good at the end.
At the end, yes,
That is something that is huge for
yes.
me, because sometimes we go and we binge and we eat and we talk about, oh
Mhm.
my goodness, we went for we just had the holidays, you had Thanksgiving, you had Christmas, you had the New Year and everything else. Like, you just eating and drinking and being merry, and then you go home and you're, oh, my stomach hurts. Why are we still eating like that? If every time we eat and we get to the end, like you said, then we don't feel well, something
Right.
is wrong with that.
Something's wrong.
You know?
Something's wrong. Something
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we eat for our emotions.
Mhm.
And you have to realize, a child comes into the world, they just take the little child, connect it, and the
Yeah.
child starts sucking, right?
Right.
Finding food. And, you know, the baptism, we have a big feast. First
Yeah.
birthday, we have a big feast.
Yeah.
So food is joy. Food is something that we use as comfort,
Right.
and it gives us the signal that we're happy. But if at the end, that's what I used to do. I used to listen. I don't well, I
My husband said his
can
stomach
tell
was
about
broken.
myself a little. every time of the month I used to be like, oh, I gotta have a sneaker bar. That was my one of my favorites, or a Cadbury bar. But
Yes.
what was I looking for? I was looking for magnesium, not the
Mm,
chocolate.
right. Right.
Until I became a naturopath. I became, I'm in the health, um, alternative health. So
Yes.
I can understand that now. But you could not have told me that earlier.
Nope. No. It's amazing. It is
It's
amazing what our body, and it's amazing how connected we connect food to emotion. If we go to an event and the food is not good, that ruined the whole event. And that's so we forget. I was like, wait a minute, we got together for the fellowship and for the fun that we were having, and just because somebody put raisins in the potato salad, now all of a sudden the whole day is ruined.
right,
Why are we hinging our emotions so strongly on that food that the whole day is shot because somebody burned the chicken? What about
right,
the fact that we were getting together and we all haven't been together in the same room at the
right,
same time in over a year,
right,
or it's been several years? We attach it to the food, but we have to be so careful, to remember that it's about what we're putting in our body that's helping to sustain us. Do we feel good after we eat? It shouldn't be that we have a stomach ache or we feel bad. I mean, I know a person who is lactose intolerant and she loves shakes. And so she just goes and takes some Pepto Bismol and then she just goes ahead and have the shake. And I was like, every day
right,
you do that?
right.
Because she said, I just love the shake so much and I don't want to give them up. And I'm just like, okay, but you are causing so much harm to your body
The
using
body. Oh,
Pepto-Bismol every day. And
there's
yeah,
there's one quote in here that talks about the body is like uh, an orchestra. And
yes,
if anything is out of balance, if it doesn't tune up, it
that's right.
can't make a good sound.
That's right.
So, and I learned that's something that I had already worked out. But when I took
Yeah.
emotional eating,
Yes.
oh my goodness, and you can tell why we do things.
Right.
The level of comfort that we get from food, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I mean, like you said, it just there. Like I said, there are just so many facets. The one thing I love about this book is, like I said, you talk about mind, body, and spirit because there's an intersectionality that happens between them all, and
yes,
so we have to be able to tap into each one of those areas, so that way we can get the fullness of who it is that we are and what it is that we're seeking to do. And
right.
so, like I said, that's why I love this book, and I'm definitely going to give you an opportunity to tell people how they can get in contact with you, how they can get a copy of the book if they're interested in purchasing a copy, so they can dog ear the pages and circle and put all kinds of stars and things like I've been doing in mine. I don't know you, yeah, it's too bright, you can't see it, but I've got all kinds of things going on here because it's important for us to remember that as a whole we have power, and that power,
Yes,
like you said, it
yes,
comes from within.
right. And even if you don't feel powerful, I think just every day you just take one step towards your power, because it
Yeah.
didn't happen overnight like that for me. I was like, it took 6 years for me
Yeah.
to just build that muscle, and every day and every day. And then now I feel like, okay, there's nothing I can't do. And that's who I used to be before. But
Yes.
this had shifted and gave me a whole total different experience from who I was. So that's why I think, we can't put a band-aid on functional depression. That's what I call it. I call it functional
Yeah.
depression. But there are
Yeah.
people who really have to be medicated because they are
Yeah.
so bad they can't get out of bed, you know. But take care of of the mind. Take care of the
Yeah.
mind. Make sure that you talk to somebody, because sometimes, I'm not asking that you call and complain to your friend every day. There was raisin in the potato
Help.
salad. But at least, if something is really, and we should,
Right.
as sisters, and as women are generally we have a lot of empathy.
Yes.
I mean, doesn't mean that men doesn't don't have it. Some men do have a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
So we have an obligation to call our sisters and ask, "Are you okay?
That's
Are
it.
you okay?"
Yes. Yes. Because that's where we're going to draw power from, and
Yeah,
being able to tap into each other
yeah,
and to be able to have that connectedness, you know?
yes,
Because like you said, you can't always find it on your own. Sometimes you need those to be around you. That's why it's important for us to have a small circle of people that we can speak to and confide in, or to have a mentor, or to have a
to,
coach, or to have a medical
absolutely,
professional, someone who's going to help you in those aspects, somebody who's going to help you to tap into those toolboxes, that's going to help you to become an apprentice for those things that are going on in your life where you're
right,
going to need to use those tools again. So
right.
that is something that is so critical when we're talking about taking our power back. And like you said, it's one step at
Step
a
up,
time.
yes.
Okay. But like I said, I want them to be encouraged to get your book, to be able to tap into some of those beautiful things. And again, like I said, the title is Too Powerful to Be Powerless. Okay. And so at this time, I want to just give people your website. I'm going to see if I can get the banner to go across the bottom of the screen. Let me see if I can do that. And there it goes. Blueprint for manifestation. I mean, for manifesting.com. And then tell them how they can go about getting a copy of your book.
The book is on Amazon. It won't be a signed copy, but but if you definitely want to have me as to come and do a book signing, I would love to do that. But I want to leave people with a way that I personally use this book. I would set an intention, hold it, set an intention, and then open it. And wherever I open it, and whatever message I get, for me, it's the first one that I got is saying no is an act of self love and self respect.
Mm, look at that.
Okay. And I used to be the person, whatever you need, no problem. It could be hailing, raining, thunder, lightning. I am going to go do it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
now I'm able to say no.
Mhm.
So that's the message that I got for today.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. Set the intention. I love that you said set the intention.
Set an
Even if
intention.
even while you're waiting for your book to come, even if it's if you have another inspirational book, even if you go to the Bible, like you said, hold it to your heart.
Hold it
Set
to your
the
heart.
intention,
Set an
open it, and
intention,
see what it
open
says.
it wherever you open it. That's the message you have.
I
Yep.
love that. I
Yep.
absolutely love that. I love that. Words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. So, like I said, if you want to find out more about your products, about Immacula's products and services, you can go to her website, www.blueprintformanifesting.com. It's going across the bottom of the screen, and it will definitely be in the description when we air the show. And like I said, be sure to get your copy of the book Too Powerful to Be Powerless. And like she said, it's on Amazon, and she's willing to come and do a book signing in an area where you are. So just be sure that you reach out to her, connect with her, and find out more about what's happening in her now. So, Immacula, what I always ask my guests before I close out the show is, what are you doing? How are you living in the now? What are you doing to exist in this space that we're in this climate that we're in right now?
Okay. For me personally, I used to be all over the place. I used to call myself an octopus because
Mhm.
I used to say, "Oh my God, I'm growing more arms and I could do so many things." Now I do one thing at a time because I want to be in the present moment. I want to
Yeah,
be present. When I'm with you, I'm 100% with you.
that's
I
right.
don't want to be thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be doing this when I leave here." The time that I'm with you, I am
That's it.
present, total present. And I'm communing with my source and I'm here, present.
Yes.
So this is something that has been very helpful to me.
That's it. I love it. I love it. We all have different ways of living in the now. And so that's why I always ask my guests that, because it may, encourage or inspire someone else to do something similar, you know? And that's the
Absolutely.
thing, it's creating what's going to be best for you, what's going to empower you, what's going to uplift you. And hopefully all of the things that we've talked about this evening, and the book, and the inspirational things, and just a few steps that we need to take. Set the intention, like you said,
Yes.
and begin to walk in that. That's going to be something that's going to help you as you're going through your wellness walk. That's going to help us as we're going through our 365-day challenge. So that way we're making sure that we're doing things that are going to create the harmony and the symphony and the music that is going to be our unique and special lives. So, before we wrap things up, is there any other words of wisdom that you want to leave with our listeners before we go?
There is there's a power inside each one of us. Just take the time, train it. And I tell everybody, stand in your power. It's yours. You if you want to give it away, that's up to you. But we all have power. And that's not only for women, men and women. We all have power.
Okay.
And
That's
we have to use it wisely.
That's it. All right. Like she
Thank you
said,
for the
we all
opportunity.
have power. Yes, absolutely. It was wonderful having you here on the show. You are now officially part of the How Now family, and you're always welcome to come back, because what's happening now is not always what's going to be happening, 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 years, or 2 months from now. So you're always welcome to come back and let us know what's going on in your now. So again, thank you so much for sharing space with me and with my listeners. And we look forward to seeing you again and seeing what the future holds for you in the now.
Thank
Okay.
thank you so much.
Yes. And that will do it for this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. And until I see you all the next time, I say peace.
Okay.